What's going on, guys? Thanks for coming back and checking out the video. Alright, so got my 2008 Wrangler here, and it's got some vibration now. When you start it up and drive it around, I got a vibration, like a motor vibration, and I've been kind of trying to figure out what it is. I mean, this thing it's maintained pretty well, as far as the spark plugs and the air filter oil changes, all that stuff like that. It's maintained really well. So it's not like misfiring, but it feels rough in the steering wheel. And I've gone underneath the car, checked out the motor mounts, the transmission mounts. They're solid rubber mounts. They look good. All right. So that's like my first thing, was that it's misfiring, or it's not running very well, or that it has, bad mounts. But I've been looking at them and they look fine. But I got on the internet to try to see if anybody else is experiencing that kind of problem. And what I've read is, I ran into a couple people that said that after they've got into a collision, that now they feel a vibration in the steering wheel, like a idle vibration, a motor vibration. Like, okay, that's kind of what's going on here. And it just so happens that this thing has run in the back of two cars in the past year, and nothing's happened to the Jeep at all. It's got full steel bumpers on it, and it's just destroyed the cars it's hit, but nothing's actually happened to the Jeep. And what I read was that when you rear end somebody, some people said that when you run into them, it shifts the transmission and engine around, and now you end up with a vibration. So I was like, well, that makes sense. This thing's been run into the back of somebody, that thinks that this thing's going to stop, and this thing doesn't stop. And now it's got a vibration. So I started looking at motor mounts, see how much they were. They're a little pricey, and I end up getting a transmission mount to start off with, because I found it for a really good deal. And we're going to replace that today and see if it gets rid of this, this like vibration it has. I don't think I can show you on camera how it feels, but you can just feel it. Sometimes you can hear it go, like things are vibrating. So go ahead and replace that transmission mount and see if it goes away. And if it doesn't go away, I'll probably have to do the motor mounts, see if it goes away. It's not really that big of a deal, but it's a little annoying. And I'd like to know if running into the back of somebody really will move the transmission and engine enough to create this vibration. Like, I've gone under there and looked to see if it's, the motor or transmission is touching something. I haven't seen it. It doesn't look like it, but what I've read is it could be it. So, all right. So here we have the new motor mount, and this is a factory Mopar part, and it's very, very simple. Got a couple studs, 3 studs on top, and a few bolts on the bottom bracket hold it in. Now I'll leave a link down in the description box for this motor mount, or this engine transmission mount, sorry, if you want to get one. But underneath the Wrangler here, this kind of applies to any rear-wheel drive car. If you're going to do the transmission mount, normally it's connected to a cross member, and it's located right here. See if I can make that a little bit brighter. There we go. It's right in here, and here's a cross member. I'm gonna end up taking this cross member off. It's just a couple 19 millimeters. I think it's like 3, maybe 4. And I'm gonna use a jack with a block of wood on it, or something soft, and I'm gonna jack up the pan and basically support the transmission up, and then I'm going to take this cross member off and then take my mount out and replace it. It's that simple. It's pretty simple. Some people like to ask about jacking things up on oil pans. It's a fairly common thing in a shop for technicians to actually jack things up by the pans, okay? So if you're wondering about that, everybody does it. That's how it's done. That nobody really uses, like, people ask me, do they need an engine hoist to do like engine mounts and stuff like that? Nobody in the service industry, I think, The automotive service industry, I think, actually uses an engine hoist to do anything like that. We just use jacks, pulled jacks, with blocks of wood underneath the oil pans to support anything, really. Or sometimes we'll use a support up top, like a brace. Okay, we'll use something like that, but we'll never use an engine hoist. I get that question a lot. So I'm going to remove this cross member, support it, and then remove this one right here. And this one is just a bunch of 19s, I think, and then I'll be able to get that motor mount out, or that transmission mount out. Alright, so I lifted it up as high as it'll go, and it's not going to clear the bolts. I lifted it as high as it goes. You can hear the motor actually touching the firewall. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this cross member. It's not going to be too bad. Just some more 18 millimeters. I'll come right off. So I think I'm just going to sneak the transmission mount out like that without removing all of it, or the whole cross member, because it's kind of connected to the gas tank support shield. So it'll probably be easier like this. So I got a little bit of a problem. The mount is actually very different. The plate up there doesn't look like this. It's very different, and the way the mount looks is different also. So you got the two studs. So I might actually have the wrong mount, because if you look at it, it's shaped different. But I think I figured out where my vibration's coming from. If you look at this guy, there's a piece of rubber here in the center, and it's like worn away. This thing's kind of like bent, and it's touching right here. You can see it. This is where all the noises are probably coming from, is right here. Because if you look at this new one, it's not touching anything. There's a piece of rubber there, a piece of rubber there. I'll show you this one again. Look at that. And that's definitely where all my problems are coming from. I'm still going to see if I can make this one work, even though it is shaped different. But all the points are in the same spot. Okay, so with the motor mount, installing it the way the other one came out with the two studs on this side, it didn't fit. The bracket part actually we covered up these bolts, and it wouldn't go down when you tighten up the mount. So I flipped it. Well, there's the two studs on this side. There's actually a hole here, and it looks like it works out perfect, man. Pretty cool. Go ahead and finish putting this cross member up, and then we'll start it up. Let's see if the vibration will. I'm pretty sure it helps out a lot. Alright, so I'm gonna start this thing up for for the first time to see if it actually fixed it. I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be a lot better. I'm pretty sure that the motor mounts are a little worn, but just the wear marks on the bracket pieces of the trans mount, I mean, you could hear something rattle when this thing was like idle. So I'm pretty sure that's gone. So let's see what's going on. I mean, it's gone. Like the vibration's gone. Like instantly, you could feel it before, just going crazy. So, man, I got super lucky that the motor mount, it was the wrong one, or I don't know, whatever. The motor mount was given to me, and I've had it for almost, I don't know, at least 6 months. So, just taking it apart and trying to get it to work. I got super lucky. I was able to put it on. Like usually parts don't work like that, where you can turn them around and make them work. So, got super lucky on that. I'll go back and when I upload this video, I'll look to see what kind of part numbers there are for the motor mounts, and I'll list them down in the description box, like 2-door, manual transmission, 4-door, yada yada yada, this year. I'll do all the work for you, and I'll leave some links down there for the correct motor mounts and the correct transmission mounts. And yeah, so if you ever run your Jeep into anything, and you start getting some kind of crazy vibration, you know, hop under there and look at the trans mount and see if that bracket's bent, and there you go. I mean, that thing was bent and it was worn down. So I'll leave some more close-ups of the trans mount here at the end of this video. And you guys take care, be safe, have a great weekend, and please consider subscribing. It really helps out my channel. It lets me bring videos like this to you guys. So you guys take care, be safe, have a great weekend. Later.